Hey there guys, I'm Dinks, and this is a Let's Play series of Colony Ship. Hi, I'm back, I'm alive. It's been interesting, I think been more than half a year. So, I had my arm broken, it healed, and I was just busy and lazy, and that's why I didn't actually record anything. But now I've bought this game on Steam when it was on sale, like just recently, and played it a bit, and I decided, like, this game is amazing, I need to record it. That's the game. The Colony Ship is the game from Iron Tower, the developers of Age of Decadence and Tunnel Rats. So yeah, it's just right up my alley. It's a CRPG with turn-based combat and multiple decisions that actually make a difference. And we are on a ship traveling to Proxima B in Alpha Centauri. What do you call it? Well, we're traveling to Proxima Centauri, right? The star, and Proxima B is the planet that is potentially habitable. And yeah, that's where we're going. And we are on that ship. There was some sort of a mutiny like 100 years ago. We're still 400 years away from Proxima B, so we'll never actually reach it. But I guess we're gonna see and figure out how things work. Right? Let's just put something that looks like similar to the portrait. Yeah, good enough. And the name. So the ship was sent out by some sort of a religious organization. So a lot of names here will be like sort of biblic. Is that a right word? I'm not sure, but we'll go with that. I don't know. I'm not sure what to call myself. Zachariah? Oh, that would have been pretty cool. Obadiah. Yes. Ebenezer? Ezekiel. Ooh, that sounds cool. Like, let's go with Ezekiel. And yeah, I've played a little bit of it. I didn't play a huge amount, but I've played, like, it's still in early access. I think there are 2 chapters that are fully available at the moment, and I've played, like, I don't know, a few hours of the first chapter, and I'm thinking what I'm going to do, like, opposed to what I was doing with my first playthrough. I will be going full on support character, skill monkey kind of type. So we'll go with intelligence. We'll go with 7 in charisma, 7 in constitution, and 6 in 2 of this, and strength. I don't care about strength. Why did I go into 7 in charisma? Well, it's because there is that skill here, Sarge, right, which we need charisma either 7 or 8. And I don't think you can increase charisma with implants or anything like that. There are implants in this game, by the way. It's in the future. So yeah, it feels very like cyberpunk kind of setting, you know, with implants and everything's going to shit, but on a spaceship, which is cool. So with 7 charisma, we have max followers of 2 out of maximum of 3. We can have max 3, but initial disposition, I'm not sure if it's like all that important, but hey, we got additional positive initial disposition. So my idea here is that with max followers of 2, we can get an implant that increases max followers by 1. So we'll get max followers to 3, which is maximum possible. And on top of that, that implant gives additional +5 accuracy to party members, which Sarge also gives, right? +5. And like that basically makes that it all the way to the captain, right? Which is accuracy +10 and reaction +20, which we don't get, but still critical chance +5, which we do get. But that requires us to have 2 more points in charisma, which I don't think is all that useful. With constitution, we get more hit points and +1 additional implant, so I think that's worth it. I think we're gonna go and try and do that. I know where to get potentially like that implant relatively early on, but relatively early on, I don't think I will be able to get it. Because it's a pretty tough fight to get it. But if we'll level up a little bit and like get our characters a little bit stronger, like the three of us, me and two my companions, I'm fairly certain we will be able to get it. So that's the plan. And as far as skills go, right, we have we can tag 4 skills with intelligence of 10, but as we at the first level up, I will probably be able to, like, I will pick the skill that allow us to tag additional thing. And tagging skills will give us additional 2 skill points, right? So right, lockpicking is 3 now. I'll go with persuasion, streetwise, and say computers. Once we level up, I'll pick up electronics, and I think that covers pretty much all the skills we need. We'll be able to get a person who can steal occasionally, and there is a little bit of a sneak system, but I've only like seen it like do anything once, so I don't know how useful sneak is. Maybe further on in the game it's very useful, but as far as I played it, it's pretty like useless. Well, not useless, but you can ignore it, I think. And yeah, there are a lot more combat in this game, I feel like, than in Age of Decadence. But considering you have companions, it's a lot more reasonable, right, to have it. So what we're gonna do, we'll put a little bit of a point in rifles, then evasion and armor. Evasion allows us to evade, so right, it's basically goes rifle, your weapon skills, right, your accuracy versus your evasion, which we can see in here, say. So compares it, and depending on how good you're at evading, gives like a chance to hit or whatever. And armor points, armor is, where is it? Someone here. Armor handling is how much armor you can put on yourself without penalties to your initiative, evasion, and so on and so forth. So we'll be able to put a little bit better armor on us, which is useful. I don't want to die, because if I die, the game is over. Obviously. Okay, and as for feats, right, these are more or less perks. We get one feat every level, but because we have intelligence of 10, we can pick Mastermind here, which requires intelligence of 10, and it gives us 3 additional perk level, well, additional feat on every 3 levels, starting with level 3, right? Which is quite big and important. I'm not sure what the level cap is, but I'm thinking probably at least 10-15, so that's 5 like extra perks, and perks are really powerful. Like they can add additional critical, additional accuracy to people. Like they're really strong. And on top of that, like that would have been good enough, but it also gives skills that are tagged 50% increase in learning rate, which is insane. So we'll level up our skills like twice as fast. So we'll definitely picking that. Another option in here would be to pick this, right? Or we could have picked some other like skill or feat, but this one's heroic ones we can pick only on character creation, and Mastermind is absolutely freaking amazing. I really don't think there's any other option here, so we're definitely going with that. Okay, let's start the game. I haven't spent points. Oh, right. And this point will go into biotech. Biotech is useful because you can heal yourself, and which is, well, more important, I think, you can get implants out of people with a biotech, right? So the more like difficult the implant, I think there are like 6 levels of implants. I've checked on like looked through all the implants, and I think the 6th level is the highest level you can you need the biotech to extract implant. But on the 5th level you can extract like even the most difficult implant, but you can then after that repair it with electronic skill, which we are planning to tag, and that's fair enough, right? Okay, so let's start the game. I think everything is cool. Ezekiel, okay, and let's start. It's the year of our Lord 2754. You'll never feel the sun's warmth under a blue sky, never hear a wind in the branches of a tree, and never swim in the ocean, because you had the misfortune to be born on the ship. You have never seen Earth, and you'll never see Proxima Centauri either. Your past and the future both sacrificed by some dim and nameless ancestor to the greater good of the mission. Starfarer, they called her, a pretty name for a retrofitted interplanetary freighter. She had already been 20 years in service when she was rechristened, and showing every minute of it. Like 20 years, right? For a seafaring ship, it's not that much. And by 2600 or something, I would think we would get like production efficiency and production maintenance ability to maintain ships even longer. But I guess it maybe that they mean we traveled also 100 years on it, maybe. No one is certain the ship will actually reach its destination, and nobody much cares, since no one alive will live to see it. Fatalism is a prevailing philosophy of shipboard. Make the best life you can, and consign all your what-ifs and might-have-beens to the void. Answer a few questions to define your character, beliefs, and opinions while learning more about the ship. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'll probably make this as a part 0, right, with character creation and stuff, and we'll start with part 1 when actual game starts. So let's answer a few questions. The ship was launched by a neo-Christian conglomerate dedicated to establishing a religious colony on a distant world. The original 50,000 passengers, the so-called first generation, were true believers in the mission. They sacrificed whatever lives they had on Earth and demanded strict obedience to the laws of God and the ship from their children. Unfortunately, the generations that followed lacked their forebears' fervent will to sacrifice. My god, you can like tell that I haven't recorded for a while, because it's been like, what, 12 minutes, and I like my throat is already a little bit sore. Dissatisfaction led to open revolt against the authorities, called the Mutiny, and the mutiny metastasized into a civil war. While mutineers dealt a decisive blow to the old order, they did not eradicate it completely. When the fires died and the smoke finally dissipated, 3 factions emerged from the wreckage of the old order. The protectors of the mission, so like people who adhere to the original mission, right? Brotherhood of Liberty, the mutineers mostly, and the Church of the Elect, just because everybody were religious, that makes sense. Each of them promising their own version of the future. Rebelling against the ship authority was a mistake. The environment itself is hostile enough to human life, and order is always preferable to chaos. That actually reminds me, I don't remember the name, like there's a novel about, it starts off basically as, like Aztec tribes in there, right? And they were two separate tribes who were forbidden to like mate with each other under the penalty of death, but somehow like the mother of the main character, they mated with the other guy from the other tribe, and he was born. And so eventually it turns out that actually you are traveling on a spaceship to colonize a new planet, and this whole situation was created so that this thing wouldn't happen, so there wouldn't be a mutiny or anything, because like back then we were able to live like thousands of years, just which was basically the same, right? And once the two tribes would eventually land on the planet, they would be allowed to mate with each other. And while doing that, they had some like sleeper genes that would activate and make the people like super geniuses and stuff. So they would start actually developing very, very fast with the help of the ship. Like, I like that idea quite a bit. Anyways, rebelling against the ship, yeah, what a mistake. The mutineers did the right thing. Why should the shipborne blindly bow to the strict edicts of the centuries dead ancestor? Though Though they would deny it, the mutineers were fulfilling God's will when they toppled the old order. All shipborne bent to the God's will just as events proceed according to his plan. Who cares? You've got enough problems right now without fighting over history with a bunch of fanatics. I know, I'm thinking maybe like we'll be a little bit rebellious, but not like full-on radical or something. The mutineers did the right thing. Why should the shipborne blindly bow to the edicts of the centuries' dead ancestors? In fact, he would go on to say, life has changed, and to stagnate is to die. The systems by which shipborne are governed must evolve. Tyrants have always justified their decision with noble motives, but all they care about is power. That power rightfully belongs to the people, thus to the tyrants. Violence is never the best solution, but it is sometimes only solution. I think we're gonna go with life is a change kind of thing. Ship suffered extensive damage during the Civil War, but remains operational. The hull was breached in several places, and frantic efforts to avoid meltdown crippled the main reactor. Radiation increased in places to lethal levels. Several other areas remain dangerous to this day. When a small percentage of children in the habitat were first born deformed, they were branded mutants and immediately shunned. The young were abandoned, and those whose defects didn't manifest until later were driven out. With the conditions of the fusion reactor degrading it to dangerous level, a number of volunteers for jobs in areas exposed to radiation remaining few, the mutants negotiated a pact with the Covenant, granting them protection from harassment and violence in exchange for maintenance of the engines and other vital ship systems. I think we're going to be going with a little bit of a... what do you call it? Not chauvinistic. Is it chauvinistic? Not like towards like kind of approach, because I feel like it will make a lot much more interesting playthrough, because you know we're not going to be friends with everybody by default, right? The mutants are the abomination, the sight of God. We should have eliminated their twisted kind when we had the chance. The mutants proved themselves useful by taking care of the reactor. Who's better to be exposed to radiation than those already affected by it? We're all the God's children, even those with webbed fingers or deformed faces. Are you so beautiful that you can shun them? In saving the ship, they saved the world as we know it. The debt can never be repaid. If anything, we need to embrace the possibility of mutation as critical to our survival in a strange new world. This is actually probably the most logical, right? We're going to a new world. There will definitely be mutation, either like engineered or accidental. Like that's probably the most logical one. But I'm leaning that we'll pick like this one. So I feel like it will be a lot more fun of a playthrough. This doesn't mean anything right now. It's just flavor, right? Ostracizing fellow human based on genetic differences is wrong. Hopefully our descendants will live in harmony in the future. Yeah, we'll definitely go. Mutants prove themselves useful by taking care of the reactor. The place you call home is known as the Pit, and to some more affectionately as the Free City. Calling it the tower of containers rising from the depth of cargo hold a city is a bit of a stretch, and so is the other half of it. With no kind of law or government, freedom mostly means that you're free to kill or be killed. On the plus side, housing is cheap and keeping overhead low is a priority when you have nothing. The real city, a metropolis sprawling across the many decks, is called the Habitat. It offers much better living condition for those who can afford it, but to live there you have to pick a side among the factions vying for control. Nobody in the Pit gives a damn about their struggles, but like Earth before it, nothing in this world is free. Just keep in mind, you might get more than you sign up for. As far as you are concerned, true freedom means being free from laws passed down by your supposed betters. Some kind of rules are necessary, else we'll descend into anarchy. If freedom means living in an interplanetary shipping container and sleeping with a gun under your pillow, this Pit dwellers can keep it. Personal freedom is luxury the shipborne cannot afford. To serve the state is to serve your brother, to serve your sister, and to serve yourself. Why can't people understand that? If freedom means living in an interplanetary shipping container and sleeping with a gun under your pillow, Speed dwellers can keep it. I think that's a good thing. The ship en route to Proxima B, an Earth-like... by the way, Proxima B, I've like seen documentaries quite a bit before it, like even playing this game. Proxima B, from what I understand, is probably tidally locked, so it's one side of it is always facing its sun, Proxima Centauri, which is a red dwarf. That's why Proxima B is so close to it, and that's why it's most likely tidally locked. So there's that. An Earth-like planet orbiting Proxima Centauri. After lunch, but I guess it's not in this universe, or like we don't actually know it for sure, right? After lunch, of a deep space probe transmitted highly detailed images of the surface, which revealed one major setback. This very inhabitable world is already inhabited. Since the voyage is estimated to take close to 400 years, it is possible that by the time the ship arrives, the colonists will encounter mature civilization corresponding to Earth's late Middle Ages. And that reminds me of the series of World War, I think it's called. It's about aliens coming to Earth, and aliens like developing quite slowly technologically, generally, because they test everything for thousands of years, and they just develop slowly compared to us. And they are expecting us to be like on the level of medieval ages, right? But when they come here, they have more or less like our modern technology, maybe like a little bit more advanced, but we already are in the World War II, so fun ensues, right? They closer to and yeah, it will be corresponding to the late Middle Ages. What setback? Though unanticipated, slaves will provide an excellent resource for the colony. We will make every effort within reason to accommodate the savages, setting aside clearly demarcated zones for them to pursue their own lives. We must make every effort to live in harmony with the New World's native sons and daughters, and learn all we can from them. We will be guests in this new world, living among the local population, and accepting their xenophobic, that's the word I was looking for. Living among the local population, accepting their culture and tradition as our own. So yeah, we're going with a little bit of xenophobic kind of answer, and we'll probably accommodate them within reason. As inevitably happens in dark, challenging times, some people turn to God, reassurance, the promise of an end to pain and hunger, or failing an end, at least a purpose. The Church of the Elect rejected both protectors and of the mission Brotherhood of Liberty as worldly fools distracted by politics and their own egos, teaching their adherents that they were chosen by God. And Church frames the journey of the ship as a centuries-long test of faith. We all face a series of difficult trials, yes, but with a very definite end. When the ship arrives at her destination, Judgment Day awaits every citizen. The righteous will be welcomed into the promised land of Proxima B, while the unrepentant will be returned to the hell from which we fled, Earth, to suffer for all eternity. The way you see it, religion is an opium for the people. It doesn't matter if God exists. People need to believe in something bigger than themselves. Faith has always been mankind's greatest strength and definite trait. We must preserve it at all cost. Honor he who was reborn, and you too shall be reborn in the new world that waits at the end of our long journey. Come the dawn. Religion is the opium for the people. Whatever. Protectors of one truth is the mission. Protectors one truth is the mission, and the sole way to ensure successful completion of the mission is to follow the old ways. The ways of the fathers, forefathers, and founding fathers are together the beam upon which the ship travels to our ultimate destination. The mutiny which through their steadfast and timely intervention was thankfully aborted was the ultimate betrayal of the old ways, of everyone who had come before, the nullification of every sacrifice and every life dedicated to the mission. Sworn to regain control of the ship, The Protectors will subjugate anyone who threatens the mission. Over the last century, they have managed to expand their enclave somewhat, but the Brotherhood is deeply entrenched. To overcome them with violence would result in a massive loss of life, and unfortunate consequences which itself would endanger the mission. Instead of embracing the future, Protectors are clinging to the long-gone past. They are a problem, not a solution. Protectors should be more flexible if they want to attract more people to their cause. The Protectors are right about one thing. The mission is more important than our petty struggles. If it fails, then all of this sacrifice was for nothing. Born and raised on old Earth, the Founding Fathers were wiser than any shipborn. So how can we question the path they've laid out for us? To stay on this path, we must stand with Protectors. I think we're gonna go with the second. Protectors should be more flexible if they want to attract more people. Brotherhood was formed to liberate the people from the shackles of the Ship Authority. Their first sally, with which the forces of the old world called Mutiny, did not completely achieve this aim. However, the Brotherhood was successful in establishing themselves as a significant power in the new order. Unfortunately, the Brotherhood's subsequent attempts to complete their emancipation of the enslaved, wherever they may be, ran into an unexpected obstacle. Not only did the people refuse to cooperate in the noble mission, they often violently resisted, and sometimes even chose the Protectors or the Church over their own best interest. Like, we know what's best for you, god damn it, obey! The war goes on, but we will be fought on different battlefields with different tactics, not military campaign to win over the people through reason and deceit. Weakening the enemy from within is the central pillar of this new strategy. To survive, we must evolve, and the Brotherhood is merely an agent of the change that drives this evolution. He who fights monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster indeed. Like, we know better, obey! Brotherhood did end the tyranny of the Ship Authority, giving us a choice in how to live our lives. Shouldn't try to take this choice away now. The best slaves is the one who thinks he's free. I will thank Brotherhood later for liberating them. I think we'll go with the second one. He who fights the monster should look to it that he himself does not become one. Your beliefs and opinions may change and evolve over the course of the game as you interact with factions, groups, and various individuals. Keep in mind the actions speak much louder than words, and that saying one thing and doing another won't fool people for long. Okay, let's begin our adventure. The Pit. Ever since you were a kid, this has been your home. A sprawling heap of vacant cargo containers slowly getting filled up with those who couldn't afford to stay in the habitat or needed to get away from its bosses and factions. Out here, folks have lived free and died fast, with those who survived earning their keep by either diving into the wreckage of the mission control and bringing back valuable relics of the past, or figuring out a way to make money of the fools who do the diving. From the day it sprang up like a patch of mold on its rich substrata, the pit has been overshadowed by Jonas Radford, the canny, cagey son of a bitch who planted its first spike. The de facto mayor of a town with no government, Jonas holds court in the Promised Land, the pit's only brothel and the base of operation for his network of thugs and whores. But as the pit has grown, Jonas' seat at the top has gotten shakier. When the Brotherhood of Freedom threatened to annex the town, concerned citizens band together and hired regulators, a mercenary gang led by Jeremiah Braxton, to keep Brotherhood out. But now, as Braxton's gunmen swagger under the neon lights, some folks have started wondering whether it's time for the pit to get a little law and order, and whether Braxton might be the right man to wear a sheriff's star. Okay. You open your eyes to grey hull metal ceiling, one panel of which flickers yellow, indicating day shift. You overslept, not that it matters. With a grunt, you roll off your strained mattress and open the window to let some fresh air in. Like everything else around here, the pressure is relative. The ship does its best to recycle air and water, but cargo holds aren't high on the priority list. You breathe in metal and burning oil and look up. 4 of the Breach 6 projectors are still operational, shining dully down on the container tower of the cargo hold 3. Better known as the Pit, the Free City. Calling the Pit a city is a bit of a stretch, but so is calling this reddish-brown liquid water. You've read that water is supposed to be clear and cities are supposed to be big, but no shipborne has ever seen either. Maybe in another 100 years, water will look and taste like oil, and people will be talking about the good old days when it was the color of rust and tasted refreshingly bitter and tangy. That's the kind of optimism that keeps you going. The elevator crawls up a groove in the cargo hold's wall like a black steel bug that's worn a path traveling to the breach and back. It's time to get up there and earn a few credits, but first you need a drink. For the last few years you've been doing odd jobs for Tanner, a local hustler with a nose for making money. He's never tried to screw you over, which is pretty close to being virtuous in this town. Still, there's a first time for everything. Whiskey Jack added to the map, that's where we'll find Tanner. Meet her in a nearby bar called Whiskey Jack. Don't forget your gun, you never know when it might come in handy. We'll take our bolt pipe rifle and backup weapon, camp knife, sure. Okay, I think I will make a cut here, and we will continue in the next episode. We'll actually start playing. Thank you guys for watching, hopefully enjoyed it, and goodbye.